Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 6 to 10 of chapter 3. Karmendriyani sanyamya,
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य
ya aste manasa smaran,
य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
indriyartan vimudhatma,
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा
mithyachara sa uchyate.
मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते
Yastvindriyani manasa,
यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा
niyamyarabhaterjuna,
नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन
कर्मेन्द्रियै कर्मयोगम्,
कर्मेन्द्रियै कर्मयोगम्
असक्तः स विशिष्यते.
असक्तः स विशिष्यते
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वम्,
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वम्
कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः,
कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः
शरीरयात्रापि च ते,
शरीरयात्रापि च ते
न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः,
न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र,
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः,
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय,
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर,
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
सह यज्ञाः प्रजाः सृष्ट्वा
सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
येषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
येषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So, we have been doing verse number 9, wherein he talks about this principle of yajna. This and the next few verses together will be covering this principle of yajna in depth. Why has so much of emphasis been laid on this principle of yajna? Because yajna is the very foundational principle of sadhana. When you practice this in life, any activity becomes a sadhana. Without this spirit of yajna, anything which you do in life, let it be called spiritual, in quotes, by the world, it does not matter, but it will not be a sadhana for you. That's what he starts off by saying, all actions bind you, karma bandhanaha, except when you do those activities for the sake of yajna. Yajnarthat means for the sake of yajna. So the type of activities are not being discussed here. Now that also he'll be discussing. See, what are the activities you should take up in life, that we'll be seeing later. But before that, the motive or the attitude with which you should do your activities, that is what is being given first. Because with the wrong attitude, even if you do the right actions, it will still be wrong for you. When we come to those verses, we'll be seeing what are the different types of activities. Like for example, one tip he'll be giving is, take up activities according to your swadharma, according to your nature, and what are the activities which you can avoid. All those things we'll be seeing. But just because you do those activities doesn't mean you will grow spiritually. It is only the principle of yajna which can get you out of all the bondages. See, birth after birth, for many, many janmas, you have been acting in the wrong way. Wrong way here does not refer to morally right or wrong. We are talking of in an imperfect way, and you have got completely bound by your own karmas. Why? Because of ignorance. So here is an opportunity to gain this wisdom. First, you need to realize what the state of bondage is and how you are in the state of bondage. Because unless you realize that, you will not have the motivation to practice the solution which he is giving. See, why is it that you go to a doctor? You go to a doctor because you become aware of some problem which you're having, health issues, and then he gives some medicines. Now, what motivates you to take those medicines? The desire to become healthy. So, all that started from a basic awareness that something is wrong. Similarly, when it comes to spirituality, when you don't understand what bondage is, what is the state you are in today, why would you become motivated to do sadhana? If at all you do sadhana, it will only be for small things, like I have some financial problem, so let me do sadhana so that I can overcome that. Or I have some health issues, I have some relationship issues. You will stop with that. But the aim of sadhana is not merely these relative benefits. These are also included. But the main aim of sadhana is to get you out of this bondage, karma bandhanaha, as Lord Krishna calls it. So the main aim of sadhana is to get you out of this karma bandhanaha and get you completely connected with that infinite supreme reality. Along the way, you will get a lot of other benefits. All your legitimate worldly desires will get fulfilled. You will get a kind of satisfaction in the world because your goals will get manifested. You will get an external fulfillment also. You will acquire whatever the necessary wealth which is required to fulfill all your obligations in life. You will enjoy excellent relationships with others, with your partner, with your family, children, everyone. You will focus on quality work and you will achieve your goals from the work front also. In a very simple, straightforward and detached way. See, if your main focus is on the ultimate goal, now when you get all these worldly benefits, you will enjoy them, but you will not get caught up with them. If you do sadhana only for these small things, now when you acquire things from the world, you will get attached to them and you will get completely caught up. That is why I keep on saying, don't leave your sadhana. Especially when good things start happening as you do your sadhana, which is bound to happen. Now that is the time where you should keep doing your sadhana on a daily basis. The moment you stop your sadhana, then the Maya will take over. The same karma bandhanaha will happen at that level, the bondage. So let's say you're not having enough finance. Let's say your poverty is one extreme, but let's say you don't have enough funds. So you feel a sense of incompleteness. So that is that is also bandhana only, because actually if you go deep within your paripurna, your complete. But what these masters say is no problem. It will take time for you to merge with the infinite, get to the highest state. So in the meanwhile, keep doing your sadhana, remove the karmic blocks. Then the bondages, the blocks related to that particular problem will be removed. And you will acquire wealth. Whatever it is that you want, whatever goals you have fixed for yourself, if you sincerely apply yourself, you will get it. Now at that time, if you stop doing your sadhana, now your mind will get attached to the wealth and you will become bound there. So earlier, the bondage, bandhanaha, was with respect to a feeling that, oh, I don't have enough wealth. Now, the bondage will become to that thought and feeling that, oh, I have a lot of wealth. The ego will start functioning there. I am only taking one example of wealth and giving you. Now, it can be anything. In the Finding Rhythm in Life Empowerment Program, we saw, no? The 12 aspects of life. One session was devoted to each aspect in detail. So in any of those aspects of life, there is always a potential to become a slave, to get bound. That is why what the great yogis say is that you keep on doing your sadhana, because your ultimate purpose is not all these. These are also required for you to move up, but they are not your ultimate purpose. The ultimate purpose is self-realization or God realization. So if you keep the focus there and if you keep doing the sadhana, what will happen is you will get so much from the world. That's bound to happen, as I told you, but you will never become attached. The karma bandhanaha will not happen. You will enjoy everything in a very detached way. We are going to see that, because in the next portion where he says mukta sangaha. Mukta sangaha. Sangaha means attachment. Mukta sangaha means be free of attachment, he says. How? This is the way. When your focus is on the ultimate purpose and your concentration is on doing your sadhana and you're steady in that, then that forms a kind of a protective barrier around you. Whatever it is that you want will all come to you, but you will remain untouched. You will enjoy every aspect of your life in depth, but you will not get caught there. The bandhanaha, the bondage will not happen. So that is why the principle of yajna is being introduced here. Now, as we explore what this yajna is, it will be very, very interesting, because that one word yajna actually signifies so many things. When you apply it at the absolute level, it means one thing. At the relative level, many divisions can be made. One is from a personal angle. That's what we are going to see. And then from the standpoint of the various achievements which you may be getting, the various goals which you fix and fulfill. With respect to that, how do you apply this yajna? He'll be covering that in the coming verses. And then with respect to the society, how yajna should be applied, what are the effects. He'll be covering it in detail. So, yajna, that is the principle of yajna, is not a separate sadhana which you need to do. It's not a separate type of activity. But yajna is a principle which you can practice throughout your life. In any area of your life, this principle of yajna can be applied. Actually, if you start mastering this principle of yajna, thereafter, you will find that there will be no distinction as far as your activities are concerned. There will be nothing like worldly activities and spiritual activities. Whether you are in sensual enjoyment, whether you are with wealth, whether you are handling name and fame, or whether you are in relationships, or whether you are studying some scriptures, everywhere you will become very protected and detached. You will experience everything intensely, but you will maintain a safe distance, which alone will help you to grow spiritually. So when you start off in this path, there will be a lot of judgments. This activity is spiritual, this activity is worldly, all these things will be there. But as you advance in spirituality, every activity can be converted into worship. Every activity can become a pious activity. Now when that is said, again the mind can play tricks. For example, an alcoholic who is addicted to alcohol, he will say, see, the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna has said, no activity per se is right or wrong. So let me convert this act of drinking alcohol into yajna. Then as I am drinking alcohol, I will grow spiritually. This is how the tamasic mind will think. It cannot work there. You cannot apply the principle of yajna in certain places, like for example drinking alcohol, because the nature of alcohol is to make you addictive. The nature of alcohol is addictiveness. It numbs your brain. It numbs your senses. It alters the electrical signals of your brain. It lowers your consciousness. The moment the consciousness is lowered, you are not in your full senses. It means your alertness will go away. Your awareness will go away. That is why a person who is under the influence of any intoxicant like alcohol or drugs or smoking and all that, now such a person will not know what he is saying. He will not know how he is behaving. Others will tell him, you are not behaving properly, you are unapproachable. But his ego will be too strong. He will say, I feel I am okay. Most of the addicts say that. Most of the people who are addicted to any of these substances, they say, I'm perfect, I'm steady. That's what they say. This is how the tamasic intellect will work. So kindly don't use this sacred principle of yajna to suit your selfish purposes. Don't use this as a justification for your weaknesses. That is why, having introduced the principle of yajna here, later on he'll be saying there are certain activities which are prohibited, he'll say. Any activity which lowers your consciousness, where you're not in your senses, now there you cannot do any sadhana. How can you convert that into sadhana? Because sadhana means you should be fully alert, fully aware. Your mind should be under your control. Now here is an activity which has already taken your mind away. So they cannot be converted into sadhana. So be very, very clear. We are talking of the basic activities in life, the basic enjoyments in life, which can actually give you nice experiences, which are not harmful to you. See, when you become addicted to alcohol, drugs, smoking and all these things, it harms you, it harms your health. And after a while, once you become addicted, the health will start deteriorating so fast, and unless you drink alcohol, you will feel my body is not normal. That is a very dangerous state. See, because supposing you get acidity because of that. Now when you drink alcohol, at that time you will feel good, or when you smoke, you will feel good. Now again the intellect will get so confused, it will think, this is a kind of a medicine for my problem. It is not. It means you are at such a low state where you require these addictive substances in order to be normal. When you don't have that, the body starts showing symptoms. This is called withdrawal symptoms. When you try to come out. See, anybody who wants to come out of an addiction will have to go through that tough period for a while, where when he withdraws from alcohol or smoking, now the body will create all sorts of issues. It may look as if the acidity is increasing. It may, various health issues may crop up. The brain, will not be able to think properly, especially a person who's addicted to smoking. When they try to leave it, the psychologists call it as brain fog. That happens. Not because they are trying to leave smoking. It's because due to long-standing habit of smoking, the toxic substance from the cigarettes, the tannin, that gets accumulated in the lungs, in the brain and all that. So when you don't get that, and the brain gets addicted to that. So after that, if you don't give it, now the brain gets disturbed. So now when you are in such a state of complete dependence, how can yajna be practiced there? It is not possible. So remember this, because every week as we are going along, I am giving you these sacred principles of Sanatana Dharma in a very practical way, so that you can easily apply these things in your life. But they should not be used to justify your weaknesses. If you are weak in an area, have the courage to accept that first. Unless and until you realize and accept what's happening in your life, how can you find a solution? Don't give your own philosophy to justify your negative activities. Such a person will never grow. Such a person will not be able to receive the higher grace and get healed. So, the principle of yajna is to be practiced in all areas of your life. So when it comes to these kinds of areas which are very dangerous, like I told you, addictions and all that, how will you apply the principle of yajna? By refraining from that action. Yajna means sacrifice, no? By literally sacrificing it, by saying no to it. You should have that confidence and courage to say no to those things which can actually harm you. First, you need to practice yajna in those areas. I am giving addictions as an example. You will have very many areas in life which are extremely dangerous if you get into that. So there, practice yajna in a literal way. Yajna means sacrifice, giving up. So just give up that activity. And when you give up, as I told you, the withdrawal symptoms will be there. That is where the sadhana will help you. If you are very sincere, if you have that intention, the Guru Shakti will flow and it will help you to go through that withdrawal symptoms, face those withdrawal symptoms with courage. And once you cross that period of suffering, it may be for few weeks, it may be for few months, it all depends upon the intensity of the addiction. But once you cross over and come, thereafter you can lead a wonderful life. So first you need to practice yajna in those areas which completely lower your consciousness. And then in the other areas of life, you should start practicing this principle of yajna. We will be covering the other areas from different angles as we go along. In this verse, a few principles will be covered. The next verse, again, few more will be covered. And then subsequent verse, a few more will be covered. Because this principle of yajna is so powerful that Krishna himself has taken a few verses to explain this. So last week we saw a very powerful dimension. We just got into that powerful dimension of yajna. From the absolute level, yajna means any pious activity. Pious activity means an act of worship. So yajna also has another meaning, that is of Vishnu. So I told you, Vish means that which is all pervading. So Vishnu means that formless reality which is present everywhere, inside and outside. So how do you make an action a worship? See, when he says the yajna means an act of worship or a pious activity, again it's not a separate activity. Sir, every day I'm offering flowers in my the picture of God in my puja room. That is the pious activity which I am doing. Not necessarily. Whether an action is pious or not is determined by the bhavana. With what bhav are you doing anything? So if you restrict worship to only certain times and a few type of activities, then rest of the time how can you practice yajna? And the time which you spend for those so-called spiritual activities will be very less compared to the other activities. So you can never then become spiritual. The force of these activities will overpower that. So don't interpret it in a very narrow way like that. An act of worship means whenever you do any activity as an offering to that infinite, which is represented by Vishnu. Now that action becomes an act of worship. So right now, this wisdom is being given to you. If this action is offered to that infinite, then this becomes a worship. But if the same activity is done, that is, this wisdom is being given with a motive of wanting more name and fame, let us say, then that activity is no longer worship. Because there you are doing it for name and fame, not for the sake of God. Now, the moment he says you should do every activity as an offering to God, now there are no limits to that because God is present everywhere. There are no special activities which will take you to God. There is nothing like that. Every activity becomes equal in nature. So when you're at home, you can do worship. When you're in office, you're doing worship. In between, when you're traveling, let's say you're traveling in a bus or you're traveling in a car, again, there also you can do worship. When you get some spare time, you can just close your eyes and do the breathing and see that as an expression of the infinite. Offer it to the infinite. Then the very act of breathing will become worship, will become a yajna. When you are interacting with your spouse, you take that as an offering to God. The moment you have that attitude, you cannot be harsh to the other person. You will become very sensitive to the other person's emotions. You will do those things to make the other person happy. You will become very kind and affectionate. All these subsequent qualities will automatically follow if you're able to practice this highest principle. But to what extent you can practice, that depends on what your spiritual level is. That is why we will be seeing this from the relative level also. Because to the extent you can practice this, let's say 10%, that 10% which you're practicing will manifest everywhere in your life, and it will make all your activities pure to that 10% extent. But for the remaining 90% where you're not able to follow it, the relative practices will help. So great yogis, they don't require to do any special activity in quotes as a worship and all that. For them, everything which they do is always in that light of that supreme consciousness. Sage Vidyaranya, he in the Panchadashi, he called it as Nataka Deepa Prakarana, that portion, where he says there is a drama going on. There is a Deepa. Deepa means a light on the stage. Now that is lighting up the whole drama. Now what he says is, first the light is there, and then people come and they enact the whole drama. In the drama there could be some sorrowful scenes, there could be some comedy scenes, many dialogues, story, plot, everything is there. Now what is lighting up the whole thing? He says it is the Deepa, that light. And then after the drama is over, everyone walks away. That light remains. The Nataka Deepa. Beautiful example it is. So similarly, friends, so your entire life is like a drama, like a nataka. So many incidents are happening. There is a birth, there is a death. In between the birth and death, so many incidents, activities, sometimes sorrowful incidents, sometimes happy incidents, joyous incidents, sometimes comedy scenes. So many scenes are going on in your life. Today you are not seeing it as a drama. The moment you start seeing it as a natak, the drama, then immediately you can go to the next level. That is, you can start focusing on the nataka deepa, that light of consciousness, that supreme God. In that light only this whole drama is happening. And when you start focusing on that, you will just play your role in this drama of life. You will play it very well, in a perfect way, but you will not get involved in anything. Your focus, your attention, your attachment, everything will be on that deepa, the light of consciousness, light of supreme consciousness. This is yajna from the absolute level. Everything which you do, now keep the focus on God. In the ninth chapter, he says, Ananyas chintayanto mam, means no other thought. Ananya, no anya. Just keep your focus on me. Me means, see, Krishna is not merely that form. He represents that infinite. So keep your focus on the infinite and function, he says. He is introducing the concept of yajna here, but the principle of yajna will be covered in all the chapters as we go along. Why? Because this is the foundational principle of sadhana. So this is from the absolute level. Keep your focus, your attention on that supreme infinite reality and play your roles in this drama of life. If you reflect on this Nataka Deepa, that example, it's a very, very powerful example. Because when a birth is happening also, it is happening in the light of that consciousness. When someone dies also, the same consciousness is remaining. And the dead body is cremated. Now it's all empty. Again, the light of consciousness remains. When you were young, when you were a little child, the light of consciousness remained. And when you are in the stage of being a youth, that same consciousness is there. When you get to middle age, then you get to old age. At any phase of life, that principle, that supreme consciousness remains. It remains the same in the past, it continues to remain the same in the present, and it will remain the same in the future. It is beyond time, it is beyond space, it is beyond causation. And when you get connected to that, then you will become very, very objective here. That is the life of a yogi. See, Krishna, being an avatar, He was a direct manifestation of the infinite, ever connected. Even the word connected will not suit there exactly because there is no effort there. But just for understanding's sake. Now he went through all the experiences of life, but nothing really touched him. Why? Because he was established in that supreme state of infinite consciousness. So a person who is able to practice this will become very, very powerful. He or she will become a powerful yogi. But you can do this, you can do it, that is, you can practice this according to your capacity only. There also I am cautioning you. It's not that overnight now suddenly everything is God, now you will be able to practice. It's not possible. So then what do you do? To the extent you are able to absorb this and naturally practice it with minimum effort. See, if you try to overdo it, that will cause a lot of frustration because it's not merely words, If you simply say, I offer this to God, I offer that to God, what is your bhavana? That is the key. Just because you say a few things now doesn't mean now that becomes a reality. To be truthful to yourself, even if you're able to practice it, let us say 1%, that 1% will purify you and it will slowly, in a gradual way, it will take you up. But to the extent you are not able to practice this dimension of yajna, what can you do? That is where we come to the relative aspects. So I was telling you last week, I have not yet explained that yajna also means fire, agni. So in terms of consciousness, the infinite consciousness is called Paramatma. Atma means soul or consciousness. Now, when the soul is infinite, when you realize it, when you become one with it in its full glory, then that is the supreme consciousness. When the same consciousness is experienced partially, that is called conditioned consciousness. So, when we talk of Vishnu, the infinite self, that is the brightest thing which you can conceive of. The same thing at the relative level, in a limited way, is Agni, fire. See, here when we are talking of the light, consciousness and all that, we are using this example of Agni to represent that state. So what are the qualities of fire? The fire as heat, the fire as light. Now we will be seeing that because each quality of fire helps you to practice this principle of yajna at a relative level. Very, very interesting. So from a personal point of view, what is yajna? Absolute level we have seen. In the relative level, from the personal point of view, it is Agni, fire. So what does this fire represent? Now, the first thing which a fire can do is that it can produce a lot of heat and burn up anything. Fire has this capacity to burn anything which you throw into it. In the Shastras, they compare the desire, the uncontrolled desire to fire. They give fire as an example just to illustrate that any amount you throw into the fire, it will want more. It will consume it and want more. The mind is also like that. Anything you give it, it will not be happy, satisfied. It will keep on wanting more. That sort of a power the fire has, Agni. So, what does Agni represent in this context as far as your personal sadhana is concerned? Agni represents that heat which can burn up all the negativities within you. It is called tapaha, tapas. Tapas means, it's commonly understood as austerity. That is also the correct meaning only. But if you go deep within, what is tapaha? Tapaha means heat. So Agni represents that heat which is produced through your sadhana. And that heat, when you do tapas, whenever you do sadhana, we can say you're doing tapas. That can burn up all the negativities within you. This process is called Atma Shuddhi, self-purification. So from the absolute level, if you can keep self-realization as your goal, and if you start functioning, that is the ultimate. But if you are unable to do that, because only advanced yogis will be able to do that. So when you are unable to do that, what should be your goal? Fire. That is Atma Shuddhi, self-purification. That can be kept as your goal. Later on in one of the verses, he will directly be giving this. He'll say, keep Atma Shuddhi as your goal and keep on functioning in life. Because if you keep on purifying yourself of all the negative energies which you've stored in the form of negative thoughts, negative emotions, in the negative energy, in the pranic level, everywhere, what we call as toxins, at every level. When you keep on burning them up, when the Atma Shuddhi is performed, where will it lead you? It will lead you to the ultimate. So Atma Shuddhi, self-purification, can be kept as your relative goal. Whatever it is that you do in life, do it for the sake of self-purification. Very, very interesting. If you are unable to offer everything to that infinite God, to that ultimate goal, he says you can offer it to Agni. Agni, the first meaning of Agni with respect to sadhana is Atma Shuddhi, self-purification. The more you purify yourself, the more you are going to grow spiritually. So when you do the Yoga Sankirtan sadhana, now the ultimate purpose is God realization. You can do the Yoga Sankirtan sadhana in order to become one with God. Now if that is difficult, then it can be done for Atma Shuddhi, self-purification. Okay, let me do this Yoga Sankirtan every day and keep on purifying myself. Now, that becomes very practical. Supposing there is a box, you have one white ball, you have 99 black balls, let us say. Now your target is to take that white ball. But let's say for some reason you're having some health issue, you don't know which is white, which is black. You're unable to pick white balls. Then what do you do? You're unable to take that white ball. Then what these masters say is, okay, let the white ball remain where it is. You just keep removing all the black balls there. If all the black balls are removed, then what remains is the white ball. So if you are not able to get attuned to the highest goal of life, it does not matter. Start removing all the negativities which are not allowing you to become focused there. Do the Atma Shuddhi, self-purification. Now, if you keep doing that, what will remain will be the self, the higher self. So this is the first relevance of Agnihi. It's a very powerful dimension of Yajna. So why are you attending this session now? For self-purification. Why did you attend the empowerment program? We had the Yoga Sankirtan empowerment program. It was so powerful, no? Atma Shuddhi, self-purification. It literally, you could experience that because everybody was telling me that this year the 5-day Yoga Sankirtan program was very, very powerful. So much of cleaning up happened, purification happened. So anything which you do in life, I'm doing this for the sake of Atma Shuddhi. If you can keep that goal in mind, now that will automatically raise your consciousness and lead you to the highest. So this is number 1. Now, the second quality of fire, if you take fire, you will see that that fire is always pointing upwards. It will flow in the upward direction only. Supposing you take a lamp and you light it, you will see the fire will be pointing up. Let's say you keep the lamp upside down. That is the wick, upside down. Where will the fire point? Will it point down or up? It will still point up. You can experiment it and see. You just light a matchstick. You hold it like this. Upwards the fire will be pointing up. Now you hold it down, it will still point up and your fingers will feel the heat. So the quality of fire is to always keep moving up. See, if you take an object and throw it, it will always go down only. That is the law of gravity which we know. The direction of all the objects is generally down, whereas that of fire is always up. So what does that signify with respect to your personal sadhana? It signifies Atma Vriddhi. Atma Vriddhi means self-development. This is another relative goal which you can have. So the highest goal we have seen, then we saw Atma Shuddhi. Now another relative goal is Atma Vriddhi, self-development. What is 100% self-development? It is self-realization. Now, why I covered Atma Shuddhi, that is self-purification before self-development, is Today, self-development has been misunderstood as development of ego. Most people, they just boost their egos and then they think they are in the path of self-development. No. Self-development means acquiring various positive qualities which will help you to grow in the world and spiritually, which will help you to raise your consciousness. That is called Atma Vriddhi. Beautiful word. You can make a note of these things. Anyway, these discourses are available in the net, so you can keep watching them as many times as you want till you fully absorb these principles. Very, very powerful. So you should have self-development goals. Now, how will you fix self-development goals? Just make an analysis. What is my personality? Where do I think I'm lacking? Very easy to fix the goal of self-development. It should not be a generalized goal. What are the aspects which I think I'm lacking in my personality? Okay, I'm being very lazy, let us say. Now, let me bring some briskness, some dynamism there. That is where I'm lacking. So the moment you start focusing on building that, you are in the path of self-development, which will incidentally lead you to self-realization, the end of that. So these two processes, the processes of self-purification and self-development together will really help you to evolve spiritually. So find out what is it that you're lacking. Day by day, start developing more positive qualities. Like I gave you the example. One example is laziness. Now, where else am I lacking? Supposing you're unable to relate with others. You're having a problem there. Now, apply this principle of Atma Vriddhi. What are the blocks which I am having? So do the sadhana, Yoga Sankirtan sadhana, and use that to remove those blocks. And when in that process of learning to relate with others, you will also develop your personality. Your consciousness will also start getting uplifted. Remember, Atma Vriddhi means expansion of consciousness, that which takes you up, like how the fire keeps on pointing up. So in life, you should always think about moving up, growth. The moment you stop self-development, that is the end of your spiritual evolution. You will stop, you will stagnate there and you will start devolving. So moving up means evolution. We are not talking of the physical evolution. Here we are talking about the spiritual evolution, the evolution of consciousness. So when you have that as your goal, self-development as your goal, then it becomes a powerful motivation for you. For example, you are attending these sessions. Why? So that I develop my personality, I become a pure personality, I become a more effective and powerful personality. Today, in the name of personality development and self-development, they are dealing with that in a very limited way. It's more of an ego boost. I am this, I am that. It is not, we are not talking of that. We are talking of developing positive qualities within ourselves which will elevate our consciousness, which will expand our consciousness. Supposing you find that you're highly impatient, let us say. Now that is you're lacking there. Now, how can you apply this Atma Vriddhi there? You can practice being more patient. You cannot master anything at one go. Over a period of time, you can focus on becoming more patient. You can see what are the factors which are making me so impatient in life. You can release all those factors and you can slowly develop patience. Then you are moving in the spiritual path of Atma Vriddhi. See, all these are different levels of the same spiritual path only. So the Paramatma Anubhuti, the ultimate experience of self-realization, that is at the absolute level. From the relative level, Atma Shuddhi is an important goal which you should have. Atma Vriddhi is the next, self-development. Now, I'll give you one more interesting dimension of fire. The fire, Agni, has this capacity to light up any place. If a place is very dark, you just light the fire, it immediately throws light. Now, with respect to sadhana, that is called Atma Prakasha. Means you should start illuminating yourself. You should grow in clarity. You should become an effective learner. You should start learning from every experience and keep growing in life. That quality is symbolized by the nature of Prakasha of Agni. Even in the meditation, we say, no, I am Swayam Prakashit. I keep saying that. Means I am self-illuminated. Why do we say that? If you take the illumination to the extreme point, 100% illumination is self-realization, is God realization. So this goal of Atma Prakasha is a beautiful goal. How do you apply it in your life? Whenever you experience anything in life, your goal can be to learn something out of it, to learn the higher principles. Every experience in life is trying to teach you something. It is not that your learning, spiritual learning, should be restricted only to these Sunday discussions, the Sunday sessions. These Sunday sessions are meant to trigger this aspect of Atma Prakasha within you. The yogic approach is not restricted only to these sessions. It should be practiced in every area of your life. So if you have a family, your partner can teach you something. The experience with your children can teach you something. The experience with your parents can teach you something. Experience with your friends can teach you something. As a great thinker said, every man I meet is superior to me in one way. In that I learn of him. I think it was Emerson who said this. Beautiful statement. And not only that, supposing you see somebody doing something wrong, harmful, what can you learn from that? You learn what not to do. This is the true meaning of that principle which Bhagavan Dattatreya gave. Be a Nitya Shishya, be an eternal learner. Because Bhagavan Dattatreya practiced that. His guru was Bhagavan Dakshinamurti. You generally have one guru. But then Bhagavan Dattatreya gave this principle of Upagurus. Upagurus means you can go on learning from anyone and everything. Like he said, I learned from a hunter something. A procession was going on and the hunter had taken aim at some animal, and with all the sound of the procession, the hunter never got disturbed. He was focused with his aim, he said. So that I learned from him. In spite of all the challenges of life, we should remain focused on our goals. This is what Dattatreya said. I learned something from the bee. I learned something from this, from a flower. I learned something from Mother Earth. Like this, he went on saying. This is the principle of Atma Prakasha. Continuously learning and enlightening yourself, illuminating yourself. When you get into that spirit, you will no longer be worried about whether I'll make a mistake or not, because everything becomes a process of learning for you. You will become very daring in life. See, most people, what they do is, they are afraid to try out something. Why? Because they are afraid that they'll make mistakes. But if you don't make mistakes, how will you learn? If you don't try out something, how can you get the practical knowledge of it? So when you bring in this goal of Atma Prakasha, now you will start learning. It will initially start with the worldly learnings. But slowly, you will come to a stage where you will start learning the spiritual lessons of life from the various experiences of life itself. That is the clarity which is being given every Sunday to you. This aspect is being triggered slowly. So the Guru Shakti is giving you the wisdom in the form of a Guru, but the same Guru Shakti also appears as various incidents and experiences in your life, and it tries to teach you through those various experiences also. Unfortunately, you don't recognize that. You don't have this goal at all. It's a very powerful relative goal which you can have. Anything which you do in life, go on learning. There's something for me to learn, a lesson. What should I do? What should I not do? What should I avoid? So, see, we generally tend to repeat our mistakes. We keep on doing the same mistake again and again. We never learn from it. Whereas the moment you fix this goal of Atma Prakasha, now, if you make a mistake, you will recognize that, you will correct yourself, and you will keep growing. If you do something good, again you will recognize that, you will learn to recognize the positive energy it generates, and you will intensify that good activity. Like this, you will keep on growing. When you see a good quality in a person, you will absorb that. When you see a negative quality in a person, you will understand, this is what I should avoid. Either way, you're a winner because you're learning from it. Today, if you don't have that goal, what will happen is, if you see a good quality in a person, now you will feel jealous. If you see a negative quality in a person, you will start criticizing that person. What are you achieving by that? By criticizing another person for his or her negativities, what benefits are you getting? Nothing. You're only frittering away your energies. So, it's a very powerful principle, Atma Prakasha. So, these are the three powerful relative principles which have been given to you today. So, the ultimate principle is attuning to that God, attuning to that infinite power and functioning in life. To the extent you are unable to do that, now get to the relative goals. And what are the three aspects? We have derived it from Agni. The first is purification. Agni can burn up anything. Similarly, you have the power to uh, purify yourself very powerfully using the sadhana. The Yoga Sankirtan sadhana has been given to you to purify yourself. So that is the first goal, Atma Shuddhihi. Then the second goal is Atma Vriddhihi. Go on developing yourself. Keep developing your personality. We saw that in the 12 aspects of life, no? The first aspect was Vyaktitva. Vyaktitva means personality. We started with that. And the final aspect was the spiritual aspect, Adhyatma Unnati. So your whole life is sandwiched between these two only. So in every experience you can keep on growing, you can keep on developing. Atma Vriddhihi. Then the third is Atma Prakasha, learning, illuminating yourself. The various experiences of life keep on teaching you. You don't learn the lessons. And when you don't learn the lessons, the problem will keep repeating. Supposing you have an issue, that issue is trying to teach you something, but you refuse to learn the lessons of life. But you want the problem to get that issue to get solved. You may solve that issue, some other problem will surface. So that is called Atma Prakasha, continuously learning and brightening yourself, enlightening yourself. And if you take it to the extreme, that is, what is Atma Prakasha? I am Swayam Prakashit. I am self-illuminating. Because that highest God principle is a state of enlightenment, 100% illumined state. So 3 powerful tools have been given to you today. We'll stop with that. You think about them. You reflect on these principles and start applying them in your life. So one is to reflect. You write down your points in your own words. You're putting it in the YouTube comment section. I'm especially focusing on those people who are doing that on a regular basis. If you are unable to put all the points, that is okay. Whatever you remember, even one point which inspires you, put that effort. Don't be tamasic. When the Guru is putting so much of effort to give the wisdom, can't you put that much small effort of just putting down some points which inspire you? Then only there will be that interaction. Every time when the points are read, I sense the energy flow, energy pattern which is happening within that person who puts it down, and the healing is adjusted and given. So many benefits are there, provided you overcome the tamas and you put that effort. And then throughout the week, as I told you, keep seeing these sessions at least for 5-10 minutes a day, apart from every Sunday where you watch the whole session. So that will help you to keep connected. So you be anywhere, you do anything in life, follow these 3 principles: Atma Shuddhihi, Atma Vriddhihi, and Atma Prakasha. Is that clear? So today's Nididhyasana meditation, I will install these principles in the deeper layers of your mind to a certain extent. Installing means I will be triggering that energy within you. So after that, this week when you start practicing this, you will be able to practice them more easily. That help is always given in the form of healing energy. See, healing is not healing is not merely healing only the diseases and all that. It's not merely that. It's a healing process means a complete change of your personality. If that does not happen, then what is the use? At every level, healing is given to help you. Okay, so now we'll do the Nididhyasana meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. Feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. Beyond this physical body, beyond these various emotions and thoughts, lies my essential higher self, my higher self is infinite in nature. My ultimate goal in life is to become one with that infinite reality. My relative goals are Atma Shuddhi, self purification, Atma Vriddhi, self development, and Atma Prakasha, self-illumination, self-learning. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illumined. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So, in today's session, very powerful principles have been expounded to you. Spirituality is not restricted to merely performing some so-called acts of worship and then rest of the time you do whatever you want. It's not that way. It is about transforming yourself from within and transforming your whole life. It is the practice of these principles which will help you achieve that. Okay? In the next session, we will further go into this. So many principles are there. Gradually, they will all be expounded to you. So, thank you very much. Hari Om.